Heartwarming moment revealed, Millionaire exposes incredible dance with Maid'S son in wheelchair. Tom Harris stared out the massive windows of his Maplewood mansion, golden sunlight spilling into the plush, empty rooms. A millionaire at 45, he should have felt like a king. Instead, he felt like a ghost haunting his own life. The rows of luxury cars parked neatly in front of perfectly manicured lawns didn't bring him joy, they only deepened the void within him. Every charitable event, every substantial donation, felt hollow. He was a respected philanthropist, yet the applause felt more like an echo of loneliness than a celebration of his success. One sweltering afternoon shifted everything. Carla, a hard-working single mother, entered his home, her smile bright against the backdrop of his opulence. While dusting the high shelves, she spoke of her son, Leo, who, despite being confined to a wheelchair due to a rare condition, danced like the world was his stage. He hasn't let anything stop him, she said, her voice filled with pride and determination. Tom was captivated. Here was a love that danced like electric fire, bright and warm, compared to his gilded cage. As she continued about Leo's dreams professional dance, even in his wheelchair Tom felt a stirring within him, a longing for something more real than wealth could offer. The stark contrast of Carla's life, filled with modesty and resilience, began to chip away at his carefully crafted facade. Their apartment, he later visited, was a world away from his mansion. The walls were adorned with photographs, Leo grinning, spinning, legs unbound by bracing. Tom felt the warmth of real family love there. The more he saw them together, the more he yearned for connection. Every community event where Carla brought Leo to dance lessons, fundraisers moved him closer to a reality he'd ignored. But there was a chasm between their worlds, a gap filled with privilege and prejudice. As Tom painted a vision of unity, he could hear it whispering in the back of his mind, "Do you truly belong?" Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Determined to bridge the gap, Tom organized a neighborhood dance event. It was a chance for the community to connect, to showcase their talents, and to celebrate joy in all its forms. Yet rumors began to swirl, questioning his motives. What does he know about our struggles? Murmured neighbors who had initially supported him. The air thickened with suspicion. This tension climaxed when Tom extended a personal invitation to Leo, asking him to dance with him in front of the crowd, a bold choice to challenge bias and preconceptions. As they took the stage, Tom vibrant in his suit and Leo glowing with unrestrained joy, the atmosphere electrified. But just as Tom began to speak about community and connection, a voice shouted from the back, drowning out the music. "What are you really doing here, rich man?" The atmosphere stilled, tension palpable. Would this courageous dance unite their disparities, or fracture it altogether? As the last notes rang, uncertainty hung in the air, leaving everyone, Tom, Leo, and the audience alike on edge, questioning whether a new beginning or an undeniable end awaited them. Tom felt the heat of the spotlight, every eye on him, the question hanging thick in the air. For a moment, silence swallowed the cheers of the crowd. He glanced at Leo, whose wide grin spoke of courage and pure joy, but even the boy's spirit couldn't shield them from the storm brewing in the audience. The challenge from behind them felt like a gust of cold wind, sharp and biting. "Why are you here?" The voice shouted again, raw and jarring. It belonged to Mike, a local mechanic, known for his gruff demeanor and quick judgments. Tom had seen him at other events, always on the fringes, arms crossed, watching the world pass by but never truly participating. Swallowing hard, Tom took a deep breath, fighting off the urge to retreat. "I'm here because I believe in this community," he said, his voice stronger than he felt. "I want to show that every person, regardless of their background, deserves to be seen and celebrated." He met Mike's stare, willing the man to see beyond the suit and wealth. The murmurs began to quiet, yet skepticism remained, woven into the fabric of their community like an old blanket that wouldn't be thrown away. Tom could feel it, both familiar and unsettling. Was he really here for the right reasons? Every part of him screamed that he was, but doubt nagged at his heart. Then Leo moved, a spark in his motivation igniting the crowd anew. With a graceful spin in his wheelchair, he let the music take over his body. It was like watching the sun break through a dark cloud. Tom's heart soared as he took Leo's lead, forgetting the weight of the doubters for just a moment, surrendering to the rhythm that bound them all together. Tension softened, and the audience began to respond. A few faces broke into smiles, others clapped hesitantly, but the spirit of connection seemed to waft over the crowd like a mirage, warm and enticing. He saw Carla watching, tears of pride glistening in her eyes, and that sight pulled him deeper into the moment. This was what he needed, a way to exist outside of wealth and privilege, a yearning for authentic connection. When the song ended, Tom and Leo were breathless, their hearts drumming in sync. As the cheers began to roll in, stronger now, Tom felt a rush of gratitude. He looked back at Mike, still standing in the shadows, his face unreadable. Is this enough? Tom wondered. Did he prove himself, even a little? Or were the walls of prejudice too high to scale? Then, as if sensing where Tom's thoughts wandered, Leo turned to the crowd and shouted, "How about we all dance together?" In that moment, the air shifted. Faces lit up, laughter erupted, and people began to join Leo on the floor, abandoning their inhibitions. Tom felt the release of tension and the spirit of community take hold. He permitted himself a smile, but it was short-lived. He noticed Mike moving to the edge of the crowd, still uncertain. Would he join, or stay hidden away? Tom's breath caught in his throat. The moment felt pivotal, an unspoken challenge and a question of acceptance lingered in the air. For every step forward Leo took, would Mike choose to step out of the shadows? As more people started to dance, Tom sensed an invisible thread weaving their lives together. He had moved closer to what he wanted. The question now was if he could draw others in with him. Tom couldn't shake the unease pooling in his stomach. Was this only the first dance of many, or would it be the last? The music surged again, a vibrant pulse echoing in their hearts. Would they follow it? Would they let it lead them to a brighter future or rebarb their old comforts? The crowd's energy swelled, but one voice still loomed large in Tom's mind. Mike's piercing challenge echoed 1,000 times. As the rhythm pulled everyone together, Tom faced the unknown, wonderment and apprehension mixing in equal measure. Would the dance lead them all to understanding, or would doubts cut through like shards of glass? The music flowed through the crowd, a living thing connecting them, energizing spirits that had felt heavy for too long. Laughter and clapping melded into one joyous sound, as people found themselves gravitating toward Leo, who spun and twirled in his chair, beaconing like a lighthouse in a storm. Tom felt the rush of camaraderie as faces became less guarded. He caught Carla's eyes again. Her smile, now radiant, ignited a warmth in him. But then, the moment was interrupted by a low rumble of uncertainty. It was Mike, arms still crossed, clinging to his apprehension like a tightrope walker afraid to step off. "Come on, Mike." A voice shouted from the crowd, laughter bursting out. "Don't be shy." The tide began to turn. Others joined in, urging him to join the celebration. Their encouragement felt like a wave, slowly cresting, gathering strength and speed. Yet Mike stood still, a rock in a sea of swirling joy. Tom's heart raced. Would Mike break? Would he trust the allure of community over the weight of judgment? Each second felt stretched thin, a fragile moment teetering on the edge of revelation. Tom stepped forward, his voice steady yet filled with an earnest plea. "Mike, this is about more than just dancing. It's about all of us. It's about seeing each other for who we are." Mike's harsh expression flickered, just for a split second. The skepticism that defined him seemed to falter. Tom held his breath as he watched the gears turn in Mike's mind, hoping to see the barriers dissolve. Then Leo, ever perceptive to the emotions around him, wheeled closer, grinning. "Hey, "Mike, you could show us those dance moves I know you've got hiding in there." Laughter erupted like popcorn in a hot pan, filled with warmth and sincerity. Suddenly, a shift occurred, a shimmer of vulnerability in Mike's eyes. The crowd fell silent, waiting, as though the entire event rested on this moment. The tension was palpable, like the silence before the first crack of thunder. Tom stepped back, hoping that he didn't put too much pressure on Mike. That bravery could be sparked at any moment, a simple choice. He felt the collective hope transitioning through the crowd as voices murmured encouragement, but would Mike take that leap? And just then, as if propelled by a string of unseen hands, Mike shifted. His body moved, albeit awkwardly, breaking free of his stiff facade. A grin began to crack on his face, and as he took slow, hesitant steps into the circle of light, claps erupted from the audience. Tom felt his own heartbeat synchronize with the rhythm of the moment. This was it, unity in progress. Leo's laughter rang in the air, jubilant and infectious, drawing Mike further into the dance. One step, then another. The music swelled once more, and Mike found himself surrounded, not just by strangers, but by a community ready to embrace him. He looked around, eyes darting from face to face, and there was something in his posture that shifted. No longer a man observing from the sidelines, he finally took the risk to join in, to be part of something greater. Tom beamed as the crowd cheered, the celebration transforming in front of him. The possibilities were endless now. They danced freely, each move grounding them deeper into a collective understanding, a shared connection. But a knot of worry still curled in his stomach. What would happen when the music stopped? When the dance floor faded back into reality? Was this just a fleeting moment, or could they cling to this newfound unity? Could they embrace the changes that were slowly unraveling before them, or would old prejudices reclaim their place in the shadows? As Mike lost himself in the rhythm, joy amidst the crowd, Tom's heart still trembled with uncertainty, and he wondered what happened next. Would their community truly change, or was this celebration merely a beautiful illusion? The light spun in vivid colors overhead as laughter filled the air, pulling Tom into a moment that felt alive with possibility. Mike had crossed a threshold, releasing whatever had kept him locked away. He twirled and stumbled, yet with every laugh from the crowd, he seemed to shed an outer layer of doubt. Tom couldn't help but admire the scene unfolding. This wasn't just dancing, it was a collective healing. As the rhythm picked up, Leo became the orchestrator of joy, encouraging others to join in. One by one, the crowd began to step into the spotlight, their childish giggles echoing around them. Even Carla, with her free spirit, joined in, pulling Tom along. "Come on. Don't just stand there. Dance with me." The way she pulled him into the fray, her eyes sparkling with laughter, was like a fresh breeze cutting through the stillness of a hot day. Tom felt the warmth in her hand, transmitting strength he never knew he lacked. He stumbled at first, just trying to find his balance. But the energy swirled around him, echoing in his chest, and soon he was moving, too, feeling the beat pulse through his veins. Each twirl seemed to shake off layers of tension. In the midst of it all, he caught sight of Mike, now fully immersed in the rhythm. The burden he had carried appeared to lighten. Boundaries once forged by unspoken fear began to dissolve. Tom felt proud of his friend for having the courage to step out and be seen. But despite this blossoming courage, a lingering feeling tugged at Tom's heart. Would this moment last? Could Mike truly transform and allow himself to be accepted? He looked over to find Mike laughing freely now, moving effortlessly through the crowd. Tom knew how fragile these newly formed bonds were, but he pushed his worries aside for now. Suddenly, Leo broke away from his chair, his enthusiasm contagious as he invited a few people to form a circle, shouting, "Let us show Mike how to really celebrate." The chant echoed, and soon the dance floor morphed into a stage. The whole community surrounded Mike, welcoming him, lifting him up, and cheering him on. Within moments, Mike surprised everyone. He broke into a dance move he had been hiding all this time. Hilariously awkward yet somehow graceful, cheers erupted around him, drowning any remnants of doubt. Tom's heart swelled as he watched. This was the epitome of overcoming fear, of choosing joy over isolation, yet, as the dance continued, Tom noticed something, an unease creeping into the joyous atmosphere. A group of onlookers remained standing, arms crossed, casting judgmental glances. Their whispers nagged at Tom. It was a reminder that the larger world still held on to preconceived notions, waiting for a chance to snuff out the light they were igniting together. As Mike caught his breath, Tom could see both vulnerability and exhilaration painted on his face. He was beaming, but that inevitable cloud of reality loomed as the music spun into a quieter, softer melody. The happiness still danced in the air yet hung precariously, as though waiting for someone to pull the plug. In a flash, Tom understood the challenge ahead. The real test was just this moment on the dance floor, but how they would all maintain this spirit once the music faded. Resolute, he turned to Carla. We have to make sure this isn't a one-time thing. We can't let the outside world steal this from us. Tom's determination simmered as the song began to fade, leaving only echoes. In that silence, he felt the weight of impending reality, wondering how long they could hold on to this unity. Then, just as that tension mounted, a voice, loud and determined, rose above the crowd. Let us promise to meet again every week. Let us keep this going. That simple declaration sparked a new wave of excitement, but would it be enough? Would they band together and turn spontaneity into something lasting? As the crowd erupted, Tom's heart raced. Hope danced in the air, but lurking just beneath the surface, he felt the fear of what could derail it all. Would they embrace change, or would they slip back into the shadows? The future felt thin, and they were at a cliff's edge, waiting to leap. Tom could hardly process the cheers that enveloped them. A week? It seemed impossible. Just a moment ago, they had been alone in their struggles, hiding pieces of themselves even from each other. Now, in an instant, they were united in a promise, pulling each other closer to the light. Every week. Leo's voice rang out again, full of enthusiasm. We'll bring more people in. Let's transform this place together. Tom could see Carla nodding, her face a mix of excitement and concern. But in the background, the same group of onlookers remained, their judgmental stares cutting through the celebratory energy like cold air on a summer day. The clash of hope and skepticism felt heavy. The thrill of now sat uneasily with the reality of tomorrow. As the night wore on, the atmosphere shifted. The music was gradually replaced by the chatter of voices, laughter still trickling in but mingling with the sobering weight of conversations. Whether it was fear of judgment or doubts about their sincerity, Tom sensed the tension creeping back in, lingering at the edges of their shared hope. He stole a glance at Mike. The glimmer of excitement in his eyes struggled against an undercurrent of worry. Hey, Tom said, managing a smile. You really rocked that dance. I mean, wow. Mike's gaze flickered away, almost shyly. Yeah, well, I thought if I didn't do something, they'd see me as nothing. In that moment, Tom felt the pull of an unspoken fear that echoed within each of them. What if they truly did fall back? What if this wasn't enough to hold them together? Putting a hand on Mike's shoulder, he said, we can't let that happen. We have to be brave, all of us. This is just the start. Mike's smile returned, but it was mixed with uncertainty. Tom could see it. Every week, they'd be on display exposed to the world. He knew the shadows sometimes weighed heavier than the light. Let us talk about it tomorrow, Tom suggested. Make some plans. Organize something. Yeah, Mike replied, leaning into Tom's resolve. The two shared a moment of understanding, building a bridge over their fears, fortified by the earlier joy of the dance. Meanwhile, Leo was rallying the crowd, igniting conversations of future dances and themes. The enthusiasm was contagious, and slowly, the crowd began to disperse, retreating to their homes with plans swirling in their minds. But as the night faded, Tom found himself staring at the remnants of the gathering, the discarded cups, the scattered confetti. It reminded him of how easily things could fall apart. Hey, Carla, he called over to her. She was mingling near the drink table, still caught in the afterglow of the evening. What do you think? Can they keep this up? This feeling? She paused, her expression thoughtful. It's all about commitment. We need to promise each other it won't just be words. We have to work hard, daily keep reaching out. Tom nodded. The resolve in her voice then hit him fully. He wanted that too. He longed for something lasting, something stronger than fleeting moments. As they walked out of the venue, the air felt crisp, a song still echoing in Tom's heart. Would their commitments create a new tradition, or would the struggles consume them? In the dim light outside, laughter erupted again as they all squeezed into cars, shuttling away on newfound hopes. But even as excitement bubbled in Tom's chest, a whisper of doubt hung around him like a shadow. Would this dance lead them beyond just a fleeting moment of joy? And as they all drove away, Tom carved the question into his mind: what would happen the next time the music played and the lights spun again? Tom lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, the weight of the evening's emotions still rippling through him. He could hear the distant sounds of cars sharing the roads outside and the hum of life continuing on around him, but inside, it felt like everything had shifted. Excitement battled with doubt, and he wasn't sure which would win. What would happen next week? How would they sustain this promise of unity? He hoped it wasn't just a flash. He wanted it to be real, something to ground them all. Hadn't they all been dancing on the edge for too long? Morning light broke through his window, illuminating the room in hues of gold. The brightness called him back to reality. He stretched and shook off the remnants of the night, making himself a cup of coffee filled with the sweet scent of hope. Today, he'd have to face the group again. They needed to talk. As he arrived at the cafe, a familiar buzz of laughter and chatter enveloped him. Leo and Carla already sat at a table, poring over a plan for the week. Tom felt a flicker of warmth at the sight. They were here, brave enough to show up again. Hey, you made it. Carla beamed. We were just talking about some ideas for the next gathering. Themes, activities really build on the energy. Sounds great, Tom replied, sliding into his chair, though a knot still twisted in his stomach. Are we ready for that? I mean, what if it doesn't go well? Leo looked at him, leaning forward earnestly. You have to believe, Tom. We have to chase this feeling. If we don't show up as a team, how can we ask others to join us? We owe it to ourselves. The determination in Leo's eyes sparked something in Tom. The doubt still lingered, but this was what community meant: showing up, even when uncertainty hung overhead. Okay, Tom said slowly. Let us do it. Let us really commit. But let us also plan how to handle things if they fall apart. Carla nodded. Absolutely. It's important to have those conversations. We need a backup plan. They continued discussing their ideas, laughter mixing with inspiration as they sketched out themes: maybe a carnival, a costume party, or even celebrating talent nights. The energy in the cafe shifted, growing vibrantly as more friends filtered in, drawn by the promise in their words like moths to light, but with every smile exchanged and plan formed, that doubt crept back in, lurking in the edges of Tom's mind. The outsiders, the judgmental gazes from before hadn't vanished. Each shared hope felt like a thread, delicate and close to unraveling. By the end of their meeting, a new energy buzzed in Tom's heart. They were united in purpose, their laughter echoing in the space around them. Still, a voice in the back of his mind asked what would they do if the light faded. As they left the cafe and stepped into the warm afternoon sun, the world felt both big and small at the same time. Tom looked at his friends, each of them broken yet beautiful, all striving for something greater than themselves. But as they chatted and walked, the group caught the attention of the same onlookers from the night before. The looks of judgment were back, piercing their bubble of hope, threatening to pop. In that charged moment, Tom felt a choice before him. Would he let fear anchor him, or would he push forward, into the unknown? Just as he thought he'd made up his mind, Carla turned to him with wide eyes. Tom. We should do something risky, something to get them on our side. And in that moment of impulsive suggestion, a new adventure began to unfold in Tom's heart, one filled with the promise of change and the possibility of something beautiful breaking free. What wild idea would emerge next? And could they handle the consequences that came with it? Tom's heart raced, pumping with excitement and dread at the prospect of something bold. The thought of a risk stirred a fire within him, yet it was the kind of fire that could either warm or burn. Carla's enthusiasm radiated off her like a beacon. "What do you have in mind?" he asked, trying to mask the nervous tremor in his voice. Carla leaned in, her eyes sparkling. "What if we put together a flash mob? Something unexpected. We could all dance together in the park, create a spectacle. It'd get people talking, and who knows? Maybe it'll bring more of them in." The idea thrilled Tom. An uncontrollable urge bubbled up, a desire to create and connect. But doubt sank its teeth back into his resolve. What if people join in, but others just laugh at us? What if no one wants to take part? Leo chimed in, shaking his head. If we let fear dictate our choices, we'll never move forward. Not everyone will get it, but those who do. They'll feel the community spirit. His words hung in the air like a challenge. Tom glanced at the park outside, lush with greenery and the laughter of children. They would be vulnerable, standing in the open, bearing their souls through dance. "We need to rehearse," he said, feeling the rush of adrenaline. "And get music, maybe costumes. We can make it something special." "Yes." Carla clapped her hands. "Let us use social media, too. We'll create a buzz. People can find the rehearsal spot and join in." As the three of them plotted, more friends gathered around the cafe table, catching snippets of their conversation and excitement. Each nod and smile fueled Tom's determination. Hope wove in and out, mixing with his anxiety as the cafe buzzed with plans, music suggestions exchanged, and hashtags brainstormed. The afternoon sun cast a golden glow on their gathering. As they spoke of themes and choreography, Tom began to envision their faces, friends, strangers, smiles lighting up the park like fireworks. Could it truly be that easy? But doubt wouldn't leave him alone. What if they faced ridicule? The fear of failing trailed behind him like a shadow. "We'll have to prepare for anything, the good and the bad," he said, his voice quieter now. "What if we embarrass ourselves?" Carla put a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Tom, think of the joy. Even if we don't have the moves perfected, the feeling, the camaraderie, it's what's important." As if to confirm her, another friend piped in from the side, "It's about breaking the mold. It'll show them we're united, and that we won't be silenced. We're here to make a statement, to share our joy." Cheers erupted around the table, intoxicating Tom with a surge of hope. The fear receded slightly, overtaken by a vision of faces coming together, families smiling, and maybe even a few of those judgmental onlookers softening their gazes. As plans solidified, Tom couldn't help but glance over at the park again. "Let us do it," he declared. "Let us create something unforgettable." They all erupted in cheers, the promise of adventure etched on every face. Yet, beneath the surface, Tom remained haunted by the consequences. They were about to step far beyond their comfort zones, but a road had opened up, and it beckoned them forward. "Just one more thing," Leo said, and everyone turned toward him. "What if we invite everyone to share their stories through dance? It could really strike a chord with people." A shiver of excitement ran down Tom's spine. Would they rise to this challenge? The thought electrified him, yet it brought a question that loomed large: would they be ready for whatever came next? As they left the cafe and headed toward the park, thoughts swirled in Tom's mind like leaves caught in a gust of wind. Would their little spark ignite into something more grand? Or would it simply flicker out before making an impact at all? In that moment of uncertainty, the world felt both thrilling and terrifying. The sun dipped lower in the sky as Tom and his friends made their way toward the park. Excitement fluttered in his chest, but shadows of doubt still crept in, mingling with the thrill of what lay ahead. They had a plan, and it felt like they were on the edge of something bigger than themselves. Once at the park, Carla took charge, her joyful energy drawing in curious passers-by. "All right, everyone. This is where the magic will happen," she announced, flinging her arms wide as if to embrace the whole world. Tom watched her, amazed at the power of her words. They had formed a little circle, with friends spilling out from the inner sanctum, and onlookers pausing to see what all the fuss was about. He could feel the excitement in the air. "So, where do we start?" he asked, his heart racing at the thought of the first practice. Carla clapped her hands again. "Let us choose our song. Something that speaks to everyone." Leo already had his phone out, scanning their group for suggestions. "How about that song about rising to the occasion? It's been a hit," he exclaimed. As the title floated through the air, a smile crept onto Tom's face. That song was uplifting, a perfect backdrop for their moment. One by one, people chimed in with their own suggestions, adding their favorite tunes, creating a cacophony of joy. The selection settled on a song that resonated deeply with Tom. With a few thumbs-ups and added excitement, they all agreed. "Let us gather over there." Carla gestured towards a flat space by the fountain, where the sound of splashing water mingled with laughter. The background would be perfect. As they gathered, Tom felt the warmth of camaraderie envelop him. This was it. They were about to create something. With no dance experience, nerves bubbled beneath his skin, but his friends' laughter reassured him. They were in this together. Leo clapped as he stood at the forefront. "Let us break it down. We'll start easy, one step at a time." He showed them the basic choreography as they followed along, laughter intermingling with a little clumsiness. After the first few attempts, they were a mess, but the joy was infectious. Tom couldn't help but chuckle as Carla tripped over her own feet, falling into a fit of giggles. As everyone gained confidence, they started to find their rhythm, gradually weaving in personal stories through their movements. Tom watched as more people began to gather, drawn in by the sheer joy emanating from the group. Families paused to watch, some began to dance along, and he could feel a stirring. This was more than just a flash mob. It was becoming a community, a moment of togetherness. As the sun set, casting golden hues on their faces, Tom felt something release inside him. This was exhilarating. The music pumped through him, electrifying every fiber of his being. But beneath the surface, the nagging doubts whispered again. Would all this energy lead to ridicule instead of celebration? The thoughts loomed larger as the crowd thickened, excitement blending with the fear of judgment. "Hey, Tom." Carla's voice broke through his reverie. "You all right?" "Yeah, just thinking," he murmured, glancing over at the spectacle they were creating. The growing audience was eyeing them, intrigued and amused. "What if we filmed this practice session?" Leo suggested, glancing toward the onlookers. "We can share it and grow this momentum." A wave of panic rushed through Tom again. What if it goes wrong? Or, what if it goes right? Carla challenged, meeting his gaze seriously. "It's our moment to shine." As they continued dancing and laughing, Tom resolved to embrace the risk. They were ready to dance their hopes into reality. With a deep breath, he joined the laughter and movement, feeling freer than ever, but just as laughter filled the air, a figure stepped into view, a well-dressed man with an unmistakable presence. Tom blinked, trying to process the scene. Why was he standing there? In that moment, the unexpected could change everything. Would this stranger amplify their hopes or shatter them? The man's presence commanded attention. He stood tall, his suit tailored perfectly, a sharp contrast to the casual attire of Tom and his friends. The laughter and music slowed, faces turning toward him, curiosity flickering in their eyes. Tom felt a knot in his stomach. Who was this guy, and what did he want? With a smooth smile, the stranger stepped closer, his voice warm but authoritative. I couldn't help but notice the joy radiating from this fantastic group. What is happening here? Carla took charge, her energy undeterred. "We're just practicing for our flash mob. We want to share our love of dance and community." Her confidence was contagious, and Tom felt the crowd lean in, captivated by her enthusiasm. "A flash mob, you say?" The man's eyes sparkled as he absorbed the atmosphere. "You all seem to have a passion for dancing. It's refreshing." He glanced at Tom, who was still trying to shake the unease lodged in his chest. Maybe this was just a well-meaning stranger. What if I could help make this moment even bigger? The man continued, his tone shifting slightly. "I have connections in the entertainment industry. This could be an opportunity for all of you." Tom's heart raced. An opportunity? Was it too good to be true? He could already picture their performance reaching far beyond this park, maybe even going viral. But just as quickly, doubt cast a shadow over the hope blossoming inside him. "What's the catch?" he blurted out, unable to hide his skepticism. The crowd was waiting, every expression a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Catch?" The man chuckled, a sound like tinkling glass. "No catch at all. Just an appreciation for creativity." He paused, scanning the group. "I just want to help elevate what you all are doing here. But I will need your commitment to rehearse." Tom glanced at his friends. They were still caught in the thrill of the moment, their eyes alight with possibilities. But fear gripped him again. A million doubts tumbled over one another. Would they be ready? Would they even want this? "Why us?" he asked, voicing the question that lingered in the air. The man smiled again, but this time, it felt more personal. "Because moments like this, moments of pure joy, need to be shared. They can inspire hope, and we need more of that in our world." Leo stepped forward, eyes wide. "Well, we could use a little help. But what do you expect from us in return?" "Just your authenticity," the man said, his voice sincere. "Show the world who you are. Dance from your hearts." Tom looked around at his friends. Carla beamed with excitement while Leo seemed to mull it over. Everyone's energy crackled like the sunset illuminating their spirits. "What if we fail?" Tom whispered, a familiar wave of anxiety washing over him. "What if it doesn't go as planned?" "It will go whatever way it's meant to go," Carla replied, her voice unwavering. "And we'll be together, no matter what." Tom took a deep breath, his heart thudding. Could they really embrace this unexpected opportunity and let the world see who they truly were? "All right, let us do it," Tom finally said, his voice steadying with newfound resolve. As the energy shifted back to their circle, the man smiled wider, proud of their willingness to take the leap. But deep down, Tom wondered if they'd be ready for the wild ride ahead. The crowd cheered, their claps echoing in the park as the music surged back to life. They resumed dancing, but with a new intensity, an energy fueled by dreams and questions, but with each spin and leap, Tom kept glancing at the well-dressed man. What did he know that they didn't? And how far down this path of opportunity would they really go together? As the sun sank lower, casting long shadows, Tom felt a mixture of exhilaration and fear. They'd stepped into something bigger. The challenge ahead would be unlike anything they had ever faced, and the road to their dreams had just begun. What awaited them on this journey? The smell of fried food and fresh popcorn wafted through the park as the day of the flash mob finally arrived. Tom felt a mix of excitement and anxiety in his chest. The sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the crowd that had gathered, eager to witness something special. This was the moment they had all been waiting for. Carla was a whirlwind of energy, organizing everyone into their positions. Leo, soaring with confidence, led the group through the final rehearsal. It felt electric, laughter mixed with nervous energy surrounded them. Tom caught sight of Mike, alongside other skeptics, all glancing with a blend of curiosity and judgment. Today would be monumental, either a celebration of change or a painful reminder of the boundaries they were trying to break. "Okay, everyone." Carla clapped her hands, and all eyes turned to her. "We're here to show what we can do together. Let us bring the joy. She smiled, radiating warmth, and suddenly the group felt a sense of unity wash over them. As the music started playing from the speakers, Tom's heart raced. This was it. He took a deep breath and stepped forward alongside Leo, their movements merging seamlessly. Confidence soared as the rhythm consumed them. They danced freely, moving together like a single pulse. The audience erupted in applause, and for a fleeting moment, Tom felt like he was flying. The laughter, the cheers, everything melded into a symphony of hope. With each twirl, he could see the boundaries between them begin to dissolve. The shared laughter, the energetic spirits drawing others in, yet, amid the euphoric dance, Tom noticed Mike lingering at the edge, his arms still crossed, skeptical. There was still work to do. As the dance transitioned into a crescendo, Leo spun towards Mike and called out, "Hey! Get in here. We're all waiting for you." There was a moment of hesitation, a gulp of uncertainty hanging in the air. Every eye turned to Mike, but instead of retreating, he took a cautious step forward. The crowd held its breath. "Come on, Mike. You can do it." Carla shouted, the joyful encouragement echoing. With that, the ice broke. Mike chuckled, loosening, and soon he was shuffling onto the floor, almost sheepishly, but the applause grew louder. There was something liberating about his awkward moves, and the crowd responded with laughter, urging him on. Tom's heart swelled as he watched. This was a transformation unfolding right before his eyes. The walls around Mike were crumbling, if only a bit. They danced together, and as the music built to a climax, the crowd erupted in cheers, echoing the warmth of acceptance, but the test wasn't over. As the final notes rang out, Tom stepped forward, addressing the crowd. "This isn't just about dancing. It's about coming together as a community, celebrating our differences and finding unity in our struggles." Then he turned his gaze back to Mike. "We all have stories. Let us continue this. We can't let our insecurities stop us. We're more than what we see on the surface." Tom's words rang clear, and a wave of connection washed through the crowd, sparking an energy that felt contagious. The applause crescendoed, and hope soared. "Let us promise this is just the beginning," Leo shouted, his voice booming. "We'll dance here every week. Who's with us?" Hands raised, cheers erupted, and the promise transformed into reality. Even the skeptics were caught in the tide. It was a moment of clarity, of hope blossoming despite the shadows that still lingered. The day would not end in solitude but in togetherness, a beautiful tapestry woven from laughter, stories, and the rhythm of their hearts. As the sun set, painting the sky in strokes of orange and pink, Tom knew they had planted a seed. Maybe it wouldn't always be sunshine and laughter. There would be challenges and setbacks. But they had taken a leap together, and that made all the difference. As they sprawled out on the grass, tired but exhilarated, Tom looked around at his friends, feeling more connected than ever. "We've got to keep this going," he murmured, and the enthusiasm flowed back to him as they all shared their plans for next week. And for the first time in a long while, Tom felt completely at home. Together, they had danced through the challenges and found joy beyond the surface. The real journey was just beginning, and he was ready to face it one dance at a time. Now, if you felt the joy of this story and want to be part of something special, you need to subscribe now. Hit that button and don't miss the next exclusive stories. Every like counts, and it truly helps with the algorithm, so leave a like now. I want to hear from you. Comment your thoughts, your reactions, and how this transformation touched your heart. And you know what? Don't wait not even one more second to share this video. Send it to at least 5 friends who you know need to feel this kind of joy and transformation. Let us spread the happiness together.